the best single day we've ever had in an annual conference, and this day is going to be equally great. Our second general session is always devoted to our great drivers that we honor every year. And so pleased to be able to do that. I'd like to recognize our sponsors. Could you give a round of applause to Best Pass and Isaac for the and also our Driver Hall of Fame VIP sponsor, CPC Logistics. CPC's been doing this for many, many years. Let's give them a great round of applause. And now our Driver Hall of Fame luncheon sponsors. How about that great lunch? CPC Logistics, Frito-Lay, Fleet and America, and Triple Transportation. Let's give them a sponsor. Okay, so now we're going to begin our Driver Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and the Master of Ceremonies who's here is Tom Moore, Executive Vice President of NPTC. Tom?
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. This is the favorite thing that I get to do out of many favorite things that I get to do in the course of my life and my career. And I just want to welcome you all to this session. I'd like to thank our sponsor, International Truck, and Bob Mann, if you're in the audience, wherever you are, come on up to the stage, please. Bob is a generous sponsor. Without his support, we could not make this program work. And I'd also like to welcome our board chair, Chuck Amon, to the stage to help with the presentation of the awards. Let me go back a second. What I'd like to do is just do a quick overview of this year's class, which is an exceptional class. We gathered in this room, and the four people you're about ready to be introduced to, 172 years of service to this industry, 13.2 million miles without a chargeable accident, moving violation, or injury. That represents, just to put that number in perspective, if these folks started when they did, and they're all in their 60s and one in their 70s, but if they started all together, that would have been 27 round trips to the moon, okay? That's about or another perspective, 530 revolutions around this world without an accident or without a moving violation. I think that's pretty special. And the four men you're about to meet represent absolutely the best of the best. They're the cream of the crop. They're the pinnacle of excellence in this industry. They're the people that everybody aspires to be like. And we'd like to thank them for their years of service, their dedication, their focus, their extreme sense of care, their honesty, their embodiment of the golden rule. They live it every day. And this is a real tribute to a job well done for them. I humbly hope that over the next few minutes that I'm able to capture in some small way the essence of what makes each one of the four of these individuals tick. I'd like to pay them the respect. I mean, how do you reduce a lifetime of service into 5 or 6 minutes? That's the challenge. And so bear with me, and I hope you get a better sense to see what makes them tick. But understand that each one of these four men, while they come from different parts of our industry, different areas of our country, they are joined because of their love for their family. They're united in their service to their customers and to the companies that employ them. They're all supported by great companies and by great family lives back home. In short, these are four stories of individuals that make our industry proud and they make America great. I'd like to introduce you to Ron Mahar. Ron is with CPC Logistics, assigned to the Walgreens Oshkosh account. In 54 years of driving, Ron has driven 4 million miles without a preventable accident, injury, or moving violation. He's racked up 3 million miles without an accident. In 33 years, he has driven for CPC Logistics. when he was assigned by Walgreens. He did report to me that he did have one deer strike early in his career, and those of you who are as old as I am and remember the name Tom Stedman, Tom was one of the first chairs of this combined council, NPTC, when it was formed. Tom Stedman was also the private fleet director for Walgreens. They both hit a deer on the same day. It used to be classified as a chargeable accident. Because his boss hit a deer on the same day, all of a sudden it got converted to a non-chargeable. Not surprising, Ron has won numerous safe driving awards, a couple of Driver of the Month and Driver of the Year. And here he is pictured. He was born up in Utica, New York, and graduated from high school and went out and he learned to drive on the farm, driving old farm equipment. After he graduated at age 18, he enlisted in the Army. And he was trained as a mechanic and was able to drive all sorts of different kinds of equipment. As a matter of fact, that's how he got into this industry, driving this. Let's hear how he tells it.
Well, it was pretty much started trucking as a joke when I was overseas in the military. We had some 10-ton trucks, trailers, and we had to move some track vehicles across the friendly zone, and they wouldn't let us drive them, so we needed to truck them. And we had these 3 10-tons, but we only had 2 drivers. So the LT came by and he asked me what I was doing, and I said I was just, here, and my men were all doing what they needed to do. He said, why don't you learn how to drive one of them trucks? And I thought he was joking. Oh yeah, okay. So he said, no, he says, really? He says, Bally knows how to drive one, but can't do it. So I'm gonna send Bally with you to teach you how to drive the truck. Okay. So that's what we did. Bally took me out in this brand new 10-ton, but I had no idea what I was doing with these 2 big sticks. And Bally rode with me for a week and told me when I needed to shift and where to. And that was how I got started.
So interesting start. The Army has been very important to Ron over his life, and you can see there he is pictured with 3 buddies back, 40 years ago and now today. A little bit of a change, but they still get together and reminisce about old times. At his mother's urging, Ron left the military after nearly 6 years, a couple tours in Vietnam, and within about 30 days of being stateside, he had a job as a mechanic's helper close to his home up in New York. He got hurt and came right down here to Orlando to visit an Army buddy and also to recuperate. His buddy's brother-in-law was looking for a driver, and he ended up taking a job down here driving for ASI in Orlando, hauling steel and I-beams, some going up to 60 feet in length. The bottom fell out of that market in 1974, and he was left without a job, and so he moved to Houston after. Were you modeling for Coors? I don't know, but it worked. I thought that was just a great picture, and it shows a little bit of this. This man is a really funny man and looks at life through a very optimistic lens. And I asked him why he moved to Houston, and he said that's where the work was. So off he went. There he is. That beard has been a constant companion with him since 1974, and he tells me it's gotten down to here at times. Okay, so that's a real point of pride. He has 5 kids from his first marriage, and he and Melissa, and unfortunately Melissa is not with us today. She had to leave a little bit earlier, but they've been married for almost 40 years. They have 3 children of their own, and he and Melissa met. I guess I can tell the story now that she's not here. She used to be the younger sister, Ron tells me, of the woman who used to babysit for Ron and his family in Florida. And he said, she was a bratty, loudmouth, smart-alecky kid, but she grew up. Well, they both grew up and started dating, and 39 years later, they're still together. The kids, it's so funny listening to Ron talk about his kids. They're his pride and joy. He has little nicknames for each one of them. One of them is Sweet Shannon, one of them Sherry Berry, and they have 3 of his kids have actually followed in his footsteps into the military. This is some of the early equipment that he was running in the Texas area. he actually went to the Texas Employment Agency, and he had 2 jobs, and he chose the Walgreens job. And at the time, Walgreens was a direct employee of their folks, and he went to work for Walgreens, worked there for a few years, and got laid off when the Houston facility closed. He drove for a couple of other companies, and he was rehired by CPC Logistics and reassigned back to the Walgreens account in 1989. He used to do a lot of peddling of the freight. What you'll see here, this is a picture of he and Richard Jones on the day that we went from Houston up to Waxahachie. And Richard is the division manager for CPC. Well, Ron used to peddle. He used to take twin trailers out throughout the state of Texas and actually deliver to the back rooms of all the Walgreens stores in his route, which is, as anybody knows that business, it's high touch, a lot of fingerprinting of freight. He now has a little bit more comfortable job running about 8 to 10 hours a day from Houston, running a big box up from Houston up to Waxahachie and then pulling doubles back down to Houston. So that's his run, and that's the run we went on. You'll find that despite his sense of humor, he's very meticulous. He's a creature of habit. That shirt you've been wearing is what, 30 years old? 30 years old. Okay. It has been washed. Okay. So, but he likes the shirt. It's comfortable. It breathes in the hot Texas sun, and it protects his arms from the sun. And he's meticulous in his pre-trips. When we took a load out, it was funny. All of a sudden, he heard something as we were backing. We went to the back of the trailer, and the loads had shifted against the trailer door. So he said, we can't go like that. We're going to take it back in, get it reloaded, get it loaded the right way, so that when it's unloaded, it doesn't fall out and hurt somebody. Then he noticed there was a little marker light at the top of the trailer, and that needed to be repaired. So 2 hours later, we were on a run up to Houston. But you know what? We were running safe and sound.
Seeing what's out there. Everything. I mean, scenery, just everything. All the different colors in the trees, and going over creeks and by lakes and rivers. There's just so much to see that, you don't see in an office, that's for sure. But that's basically why I like to get out there and look at the clouds and see all kinds of different clouds. It's just a mixture of stuff.
The thing you find out about Lon, that was when I asked him what he liked most about trucking. What you find out about him is that he journeys with great expectation. He finds shape in the clouds, he looks at the streams, he looks at the grass, he looks at everything in the environment, and it's just, to him, I think that he's like a kid in a candy shop. He's not driving, he's just having fun. He showed me one of his tricks of keeping his eyes moving, and that's this license plate game. As he's going along, just keeping track of the environment, what license plates pass him, and he has it coded up in his brain in terms of the Northeast they have 6 states there, so he racks that up over here, and he has categories that he puts those states in, and typically on that run, he'll get about 30 states. Again, it keeps his eyes moving on the interstate, and he does another thing that I think is also interesting in terms of his management of his own fatigue. He calls it, I called it the blink game, but you'll hear him describe it now.
If you blink, stop. Even if it's just to walk around the truck. If you blink, there's a reason you blinked. Probably because you get a little bit tired. It may not be serious. But if you get out and walk around, the blood will flow. And you should be okay.
So Ron has developed some rules of the road that I categorize these into his rules of the road, and you'll see very similar rules between all 4 of the drivers. He said you'll never know when something unexpected, when a rabbit's going to jump out. So expect the unexpected. See what's going on around you. Keep things in perspective. The frustrations are not happening all day, every day. Conduct a thorough pre-trip inspection. As I told you, he did a great job there. Follow a step-by-step routine. Do it the same way every time. And don't be in a hurry. And he shares these tidbits of advice with the drivers that he trains still there at the Houston yard. A lot of these best practices, he will take the time to walk through the driver recruits and the new drivers so they get it, and he takes whatever time is necessary. He's under no clock to get it done because he wants to make sure that the knowledge has been retained and absorbed. And I asked him what it's like, because we got a lot of different kind of drivers coming into our population now, and what are his strategies for success when it comes to driver training? Let's listen.
Well, you need to see it, touch it, and do it. And it doesn't matter what language you speak. If you see it, and then you touch it, and then you do it, you're gonna figure it out.
So he continues to invest in his own safety, whether it's defensive driving or keeping up with the rule changes. He pays attention to what is affected and how it affects himself. As an example, a couple of years ago, Texas enacted a law where you had to have, when your windshield wipers came on, you had to have your lights on. He likes to pay attention to all the small stuff and get it done, and loves to stay compliant. He also, the other thing that you'll find is, don't go on a road trip with Ron. He loves to veer off. He'll see a sign, and this is not while he's driving commercially, okay? But in his own car, if he sees a sign, you know, Ruby Caverns, this, that, or the other, it's yank, and he'll yank off the road, and it doesn't matter whether his wife's in the car, his family's in the car, he's gonna go see what he wants to see. And it's just kind of the spur of the moment that's enjoyable. I think it likes to drive Melissa crazy, but she's still there with you, and I can tell this story now that she's not. I asked him, Ron's 72 years old, and I said, what's the future look like, you know, when you hang up the keys? And I just thought this is great.
Probably just stay as a professional tourist. Don't do what I like to do. Unless Mama lets me set the train room up. And if she lets me set the train room up, yeah, we're gonna just Lionel everybody to death.
What he hadn't told you in that is he's had the same train set since he was 9 years old and grown to it. And it's become part of a family tradition. Ron, we can't thank you enough for everything you do. Thank you.